Welcome back, everybody. Welcome. Oh, I slowed her on her flow. Welcome back to the canyon. Welcome back to another in the View series. You've all seen it in the thumbnail. So, technically, in your version of this multiverse, you know whether this is a quick view or a junk view before I do. And as always, we hope sincerely for everything to be a quick view because we want everything to be good. The problem is that doesn't tend to be the case. Injora with another one. Injora, and look at this. Like this, ladies and gentlemen, this I consider more progress than anything. Injora Swamp Claws. Not Super Swamper Rocks tire. None of that. If it's a copy of something else, it's a copy of something else in that Ants is a copy of A Bug's Life. Like, we have similar ideas. We're going to go with this being the directionality of it. Here's why we're oscillating back and forth between quick view and junk view. They are S3. They are not S4, but they feel stickier than previous S3 tires that we've tested. King Trekkers. What's the other one? Kraken Claws, a.k.a. the Clerm. But we know S4 is apparently the secret sauce. So we temper our expectations a little bit for the Swamp Claw, it being S3. That looks like it'll be a pretty good mud tire. We've definitely got more empty space than we do have lug. That's kind of what we're looking for. And the insert du jour will be the blues. Because the greens, and boy, am I going to get emails and Instas and YouTube messages about that. They won't be available for probably another 2 weeks. This was the set that was in the Tusks in the recent test, for those who saw that. And I don't know if it's that they spent time on a heavier rig, but they feel pretty much okay. A little firm. And I do have a concern there because the included foam that came with these, which is right about the same size, is one of the softest OE foams I've ever encountered. Like this isn't even a soft foam. This is a super soft. And the thing is, the carcass thickness, we're a little thicker than most, about 1.8 millimeters. I just caliper the punch where I punch the vent hole. But this is a tire with no ribbing, no belting, no sidewall support. This on the side hill, any kind of ladder like steering would get killed with these. I desperately want the Swamp Claw not to be like the Kraken Claw, the Clerm, the fake KLR. I want it not to be a tire that is super dependent on the insert. What we have learned in the past from tires offered to us by Injora is that they tend to do the best on these, and then you put any insert in them and they just get worse. That was the case with the Mud Terrain MT crawler tires before they went ahead and started putting names and everything on them. So but obviously, Injora definitely specs a tire to a size. They are all this kind of overly narrow, right in the 475, but a little under, because, you know, as is the process around here, we mount 3 and then we do the last so that we can exhibit mountability. And of all the ones that we've tested so far, the insert fits the best in this one. The Pro Comp has a little more rounded to the shoulder. The KLR it's deceptive, right? They stand the same height side by side, but the lug height on this guy is taller. So his ID is actually smaller and he's ribbed. So this is looking more crawler / mud tire hybrid. I have hopes. for the S3. The S3 has been a compound that once we got to witness S4, we were like, oh, well, S3 is dead. Amazingly, well, not amazingly, I think if they were S4, there would be juice required, but I didn't use any bubble juice on any of these. Now, are we potentially hampering this guy's ability to drive in the forward direction by taking out his hyper soft OE foams and replacing them with Injora molded silicone? I don't care, because the number of people who will be well served by this foam is a very small number. Those will side hill horrifically unless your rig weighs 3 pounds. I do appreciate seeing a foam that soft, though, because if you have some other tire that has a beefy sidewall, you can take advantage of super soft foams like that. We have in the Canyon fleet, which grows larger seemingly every day, the number of rigs running on open cell foams, you can count on one hand. We don't have a lot. And if we're talking open cell single stage foams, two? There's either 2 or 3. So, for better or worse, take this as you will. Apparently gone are the days of Injora offering you up, your tires will come in a Ziploc bag with a vent hole with a little Injora tab stapled to the top. Like we're... Make more fun for RC. We're getting there. And they give you a zippy bag that you can actually reuse. So for folks who store their tires, I have too many rigs to store, but for folks who store their tires, and by that I mean you take them off and you spritz a little Simple Green or WD-40 in the bag to keep them from drying out and cracking, hang it up on a hook, Injora, improve your RC experience. So there's potentially a sword coming out of a sheath. We don't know yet. When you start to see branded packaging, you know things are going to get expensive. So let's hope. Let's hope that is not the case, and that we're wrong about that. Will these inserts be too firm? Maybe. Did I want to disassemble a set that is having great success with cut blues? No, because the 2 sets of cut blues are real good, and we're testing. So I think in the spirit of fairness all around, I don't think we can test in any other way than to test these uncut. So they're going to act a little, I feel like they're going to act a little firm. This rig is definitely in the weight class of the upcoming green inserts, and I don't want to cut these because ordinarily any tire that comes down the pass and is set for testing is going to be tested on Canyon Customs, which is medium, hair bun over dual stage in the back, and a double. This is actually an Injora specific. Like, this is what should be in there because they're cut to the narrower width for the narrower tire. But we have yet to find an Injora tire that actually responds to a firmer insert. Like, the inner of this is just as hard as a rock. So I feel like we're being democratic about it, and we're giving these tires a better chance. We should see some deflection done. Oh, there's a little bit. There's a little bit. So it's Quickview, it's Junk View. I gotta find the whiteboard. I gotta find my whiteboard pen. I gotta gather all the gear together. There's nothing to do but go out to where rocks are. It's a good looking tire. It's a pretty good looking tire. All right. Does lightning strike once, twice, thrice? We're going to find out. Pro Comps did amazing. And that is what now gives me pause. Doubling down on my commitment to opt for the Injora silicone over the open cell foam. It is optimal / suboptimal conditions for a tire test. It's about 55 degrees. The sky is crisp and clear. It is 99% relative humidity. And overnight last night, we got actual rain. There's like puddles of water on the ground and everything. The dirt is very sticky and cakey. So the Swamp Claw has it's got a tough hill to climb, no pun intended. So is this the insert? It's probably too firm, but it's what we have now. That looked good on initial. That looked good. Oh, get it? Yeah, okay. This insert is like 10% too stiff. So in many cases, unless your rig is particularly light, I think the upcoming green insert, and I speak of this purely speculatively, would potentially be too soft. We're not going to get the pull there because we're overly firm. The goal is to stay as far right as we can and see I can push it back. This is unquestionably a Quickview. This is not a junk view, so we are on Quickview scoring. And that scoring will be slightly modified due to the conditions and the conditions. I'm not giving any leeway because of the insert, but you can see in between the tread block, it's already kind of wet. So what you saw, and the tops of the bean right there, you see a nice wet stripe across the top. So we're seeing semi-wet performance here, and it ain't bad. The insert acts just the tiniest bit over firm. It is 5 to 10%. So in terms of forward drive number, I have a number in my head. And mind you, this is a wholly achievable number because baseline is neither heavy nor light. There are instances, this being one of them, where the slight but still present over firmness of the insert is there. The tread pattern, though. So I'm looking more at the tread pattern. It's working. It's working. I'm going to have to go with a reasonable number here. Because any little bits of lack of traction, I know exactly where they're coming from. We are not performance optimized. We're out of the package. This is out of the package Swamp Claws and out of the package silicone blues. And I'm going to say Slick Rock is a 9.4. And the thing for the Swamp Claw here is pulling a 9.4 at the first obstacle is basically a guarantee of a pretty good score. Because when we wet this down, and by that I mean wet it down more, I don't think the performance is really going to suffer very much. I feel like what the Swamp Claw is being presented with here are those days when the celebrity of whatever nature would show up for Top Gear Star in a reasonably priced car, and it would just be bucketing down rain. So they already know they're not going to put down the best overall time. They're going to get that W in parentheses for wet. And I feel like in rare instance, nope. Yeah, right here, inserts over firm. The ability to breach up over. If this is S3, this is really good S3. This is the best S3 we've seen by a wide margin, particularly considering that it is beyond moist out here. Oh yeah, the positionability. I am not mad about it. Anytime you see hop and judder, it's the the blues are actually doing pretty good in the front. This might be a blue-green situation. I won't have them in my hands for some time, but oh, that was really nice. It was really nice. And it's wet. It's wet. It's wet, and it's not optimized. I'm gonna go 9.5. Daphne's line, 9.5. The make or break, honestly, for the score of this tire, the make or break is gonna be on the side hill. Not surprisingly, because I think, thanks to conditions, we're gonna see a little something. We're gonna get to see this tire's performance on the side hill. The insert might be optimized. A little over stiff is kind of what you want for really aggressive side hilling. I'm getting a lot of feedback here. Yeah, it's gonna put down. And did I feel excessive slip to the side? No, it's, if not damp, moist. They do not seem to mind it that much. Like if I want to dial up, let's dial up. That's a real slick spot right there. So I think what we're seeing is a really good performance from a tire given. If you can do well in the wet, your drive performance is not going to be worse. That's not how that works. A 9.4 at the side hill. There's some small adjustment in there. Now, we're obviously, I say obviously like it's a foregone conclusion, we're not gonna pull the lip here. It's too wet. Tires are loading. But the drive is nice, and the drive is straight. So any worries I or anyone else might have been harboring about, are we chopping his legs out from under him before we even start by putting in an insert that we had sort of bench determined to be overly firm? I don't think so. Got it. I was in the grit down there. Let's clear the grit a little. Yeah, see that amount to get to right there? I want to test bump here, but if we can get up without it, we'll try the left-hander. Nah. So we will forever wonder. We will forever wonder, is the insert a little too firm, or is it the wet? Like, what is this bone dry? With how quick the sun works around here, by the time we get to the final, we might be dry enough. Here's what I'm not. Oh, that bucket's probably full of water. It is. Okay, our first preliminary self-right was easy whip. That bump, when you give it the gusto, it's so straight. We've got a lot of chevron. You get the chevron in there, you're gonna pull it straight. And right here, come on. Need a little more. Nope, that's full of water, dude. You had the tendency to kind of flip-flop. That's way to the insert. So this is a tire that I believe is going to be better than competent on under imperfect conditions, which this is. Like those tires are wet. So we adjust, because it is my firm belief, it is my semi-firm belief, because the Vanquish VXT2 was one of the only tires off the top of my head that actually legitimately does better when it's wet than when it's dry. Something about that red compound, it needs the surface to be clean to the point where just get it wet and it will work better wet. I can go to a 9.2 here because we're doing a lot of mental math. We're giving and we're taking. Even in the dry, I don't think this tire has enough forward drive to get up over the lip. Maybe if we had open cell foams in the rear. But we're not here for trickery. We're here to do stuff. The self-righting score. This guy might peg it on the self-right. Positionability should be good, and I have hopes. Get up. Come on. There it is. Oh, they're pretty mucky now. We drove through a section where a night puddle forms and is now just like a mud slick. Was it too far? It was not. This is really good. Too tight. We turned in too tight. I want to get up on this lip and see which way we shuttle. We shuttle the way that we want to shuttle. Oh, that was really good. Were that dry, that would be really good. Wet? Wet on wet. Remarkably good. This might be the best showing yet from the Swamp Claw, and they've been, I mean, consistently good. There's a little over hard there. Trying to get that rear over. There we go. This is an over stiff in the insert situation where, boy, is it manageable. You can absolutely work with it because it's just too stiff. I feel like I'm going to keep trying to drive that point home. We're going to have to revisit. We're going to have to revisit moving from blue to green for sure, because maybe it won't get better. It's already really good. I'm going to go 9.6 on that. You know what? I'm going to go 9.7 on that because it's wet. So this is how California works. Once it has stopped raining, it is as if it has never rained. Immediately above the dead limit sign, you can already see the spots that are full dry because they've been in the view of the sun for 10 minutes. By this afternoon, this will be pretty much fully dried out. Get it over. Yep. I thought that there would be more issue there because of the wetness. We're asking that side lug to do a lot. Now this side is going to be particularly something in the wet. Yeah, we're going to get a lot of slide there. And we're a little over firm, but I think the over firm in the rear is helping because it's not letting the rear end squirt out. All the work here is being done driver's side tires. Yeah, okay, we'll just push it over to the other side. This would pull soft side. If it's dry, it's gonna pull that left-hand side line. And it's so close. In about 20 minutes, a little more sun exposure on there, I think it has it. The lug is, oh, it's trying. Oh, the self-right on this is going to be ridiculous. We already know the bump score is going to be pretty good. The forward drive for wet is far better than one would anticipate. The bump is flat and straight because we've got a lot of chevron in there. Yeah, this right here, that little bit, the ability to spin it up. I'm trying to get like midway up the ledge. Oh yeah, that is a solid bump. Again, not surprising. This is an insert in a tire that I have to think were designed to operate together. Would it get better on the green? I don't know. Like if it does, it's not going to be earth-shattering. It's not going to be like, oh, It was kind of terrible on the blue, but it's amazing on the green. We're talking like a 2/10 thing. 2 to 3/10 maybe. And I mean on a cumulative score. The bump is really good. There's no squirt. It just goes. And if we go full bean, it was too much. It was too much. There was too much drive for full bean. Come on, bumper. I want to get there. Oh, they're nice and loaded now. Yeah, that's really good. I got a number for that. I got a number for the other. Okay, self-right. Come on over, firm. Help us out here. Doesn't want to tip. Doesn't want to tip. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Was it too much grip? I did not expect that. Let's get up real high. Like, I think this says something about the tire and the insert. There it is. Yeah. I'm a 50% reverse guy. I think maybe 75%. So, outrunner it, where your reverse is just, look at those tires now. Oh, wow. Okay. We've got a side lug that is that's so aggressive. You're going to have to retrain for the bump. For the bump and the self-right. The sideways bump. 9.7 at Oblivion, 9.5 at Daphne's third. We're going to get a self-right of, I'm honestly going to call it 9.1 because it's so powerful that you might end up turtling because it will grab and just launch you into the air. Too much of a good thing, I would call that. In bump, I'm going to go a 9.7 again. I have to keep reminding myself that it's wet and the tires currently look like glazed donuts because they're doing, look at that, they're doing too well. Based on nothing other than having tested, I don't know, 50 some tires, I would have to think here. These are going to do pretty well on this, particularly after the rain. They are going to load up like crazy. So we are going to get to see here. We're going to head up higher on teardrop than we usually do. Because let's get, oh, it's going to be so mucky right there. Let's just get them proper muck. Ah, it's really good. This is genuinely, this is the new Deep Woods, isn't it? This is the new Deep Woods. I'm feeling Deep Woods here. Those tires are fully loaded. I want to get more. And of course the grass down there at the bottom's all wet. All right. They really don't seem to notice. There's a lot of tires out there that have an M after their name from mud, and these are as good or better. I came out here with my anticipations at a certain level, and this is truly something else. Look at that back tire. One more of these. I'm going to kind of sidle it. I mean, that's something. On the way back to Slick Rock, I'm going to have to make an effort. Oh, he's a dirty boy. I'm going to have to make an effort to dodge the puddles because I want to see I want to hit Slick Rock that loaded up. For your consideration, I mean, this is what they looked like through that whole test up there. I gotta shoot it around. Inside of his body looks as bad. I gotta shoot it around wide right because there's a big tire clearing puddle right there. I have seen tires do I've seen tires do worse on clean rock with clean tires. I think they are. How long is it going to take us to unload? We're building up a mud bar down at the bottom. Oh, they are very slick. I know. Okay. Oh! This is very muddy. How do they look in terms of clearing? Not great. Not great. So we're gonna have to take that into consideration a little bit. Like, we're starting to clear the lugs out, but they're still acting a bit greasy, and unsurprisingly, the rears are cleaner than the fronts, and getting up over the bean is something we're relying on the front tire for. Yeah, it just falls away. I thought that these were going to dump mud better than they do. So let's see if we're gonna double it up. We'll wet that down. There's actually mud flowing off. So they glazed donut pretty badly. There's a big puddle right in front of the tripod. We're going to, yeah, they are still reasonably loaded, and it is a mud puddle now. Oh, come on, do it. Do it. They're still so muddy. You can see those sidewalls. It's leaving the trail of brown behind it. Yeah, that. So it's the new deep woods in spirit, but it's not quite a deep woods. So we have a wet score here that's gonna suffer a little bit as I can't get the tires unloaded. There he is. I knew it had it in it, but you can see there are mud streaks up there from when these load, they really load. So I don't think it's wholly damning. I just think it is definitely worthy of note because the traction, you do lose a fair bit of, can I swing it around? You do lose a fair bit of your drive when these are all loaded up with mud. And because we haven't gotten anything to attack that sidewall, the sidewalls are still fully loaded. Yeah, self-right on hard surfaces covered with water, pretty great. Not enough for me to alter the score. The forward drive score stays right there. So right here, when you get the top tire over the lip there, right here, right there, that's dry. We pull that for sure. Let's go for the shuttle. It is so, like, this is soaking wet. And I feel like this is as clean as they're gonna get. Getting the old fender squeak. Now I could position back pretty far right before. We'll try to get over there and then draw back. Yeah, we basically, okay, there's an addition and a subtraction going here. After doing a little bit of mental math and some considerations for the environment, I would give this tire a 94 out of 99 in this setup, in this configuration, in the environment that it's been running, where during the time it took to record this, the temperature has risen 7 degrees in the 25-ish minutes it took to record this. So in the dry, I think, watch out. These might be that close. They're that close. And I know, and when I say that close, I'm talking about Pro Comps, the mini pins. And I know some people are like, I can't stand mini pins, and I get it. This is a more versatile tire. It does start to fail in pure forward drive when we get really mucked in. But it doesn't care about wet much at all. It was damp when it started, soupy wet, and we could clear the soupy wet once we got most of the mud out. Now, is it going to be a constant thing where you're overloading with mud if you're creek running and stuff like that? Well, no, just drive back in the water. Don't get them overloaded. It did well. It did perfectly fine when it was a mixed, scrabbly surface with dirt involved, or mud in this case. Once it got fully involved with mud, and then we came to a surface that is literally called slick rock, is where we began to experience problems. I think I'm fine with the 94, and honestly, I think the way the traction profile on this tire trends, I don't think it's going to be a drastic improvement in score going to a softer green insert. I don't think it's going to be a drastic improvement in score if it was bone dry out. We could probably, like, I'm going to go ahead and say like a 94.7 if it's dry, and like a 95.1 with greens in it, or perhaps blue fronts, green rears, or vice versa. Maybe blue rears, green fronts. We increase the forward drive a little bit. It's not like we had no bad numbers. We had nothing under a 9. That's really all need be said. If you have all of your numbers above a 9, you're doing great. The side hilling, again, assisted by an overly firm insert. We give to get. We get to give. You can't be awesome at everything. And the self-writing score and the performance here at wet were its lowest scores because it's almost too good at self-writing, and there is definitely such a thing as too much of a good thing. It self-writes better on very hard, so if you're on rock, a very small application of throttle will have you back on your wheels. So if you've got a bug body and some swamp claws, I don't think that you will ever have to walk back over and turn your vehicle over. You'll be impossible to turtle, and this thing will self-right. It would probably self-right itself out on sand. I love a big side lug, and this thing's got a big directional side lug. I didn't notice any weirdness or oddity of the very directional nature of the side lug. The chevron shape of the tread works great in keeping you straight and getting you a clean bump. Injora's got a great one here. And the only question that remains, in my mind, yes, obviously, people would be saying, well, with the green, or if it's dry out. Yeah, sure, whatever. The big question is, if this tire had been S4, my brain wants to say it is. Like, I can't imagine a situation where if this tire is in the S4 compound, if it is indeed S3, which that's what the copy on Injora said, S3 compound. So if this is S3 compound, how is this S3 compound so much better than what was in the King Trekker and the Kraken Claw and everything else Injora has put out in S3? This S3 compound, if it is indeed the same, is 95% of S4 on a pin. We're that close to a pin tire. Shouldn't be. Shouldn't ought to be. And yes, did I have to, are some of these scores buffed a 10th here and there? Yeah, it is full wet. This is what the ground at the bottom of Slick Rock looks like. He's driven through this numerous times. This is why, oh, the camera's doing that auto track thing like I have a cameraman. Yeah, we'll run with it. We'll get to the other tripod. You'll see where the other camera's set up. So I am 100% comfortable with this tire walking away with a 94. Your results may vary, and you may do worse. You may indeed do better. I'll be very curious to see them in the dry. We have more rain forecast over the next couple days, so it might not be, it'll be a week or so before we can get this guy out here properly dry. Now I'm just kind of talking it out to see how far is this fluid head going to keep tracking to the right before it stops. Still slow panning. It's like I'm using that slow pan in the plug-in. We're just slow panning over towards Ancient Kingdom. I will take this opportunity during the pan to thank you all so much for joining us here. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please do put them in the comments below. Like, subscribe, consider a channel membership, etc., etc., etc. It is nice to see Injora becoming what I consider to be an absolute player in the game, not just what people have stereotyped them as, you know, selling stuff on Amazon. These tires are great. The Pro Comps are great. These inserts are great. It's still turning. Has it stopped? No, it's still turning. I am going to see you in the next one. This thing might just keep rotating. So we will see you in the next one. We're gonna splish splash out of frame. Come back and see us again real soon, everybody. We loved having you. I'm gonna have to take the hose to baseline.